Hey guys, Mr. X here, and yes, today is the final video you guys been waiting for. What if Deku was the joy of creation, villain slash unknown? So this all started when Deku jumped off the roof. When Deku jumped off the roof, he said to Chikachan, and he was at the roof to follow him. Kachan did so. As two of them, Bakugo's saying, "Hey, you're weak, you know that? Deku, why are we going up to the roof? You want to get your ass beaten again?" Deku says, "No, I don't. In fact, Kachan, I'm going to end this. End my own life." Bakugo's like, "What? What the hell do you mean?" Deku says, "This is goodbye, Kachan. A quirkless person like me does not deserve to live. Goodbye, Kachan." Deku's falling. Deku thought of one thing only. Heroes are nothing but scum. Nothing but people pushing others around because they have their special quirk or power. They're weak. They're not weak per se. They're just too weak to understand that sometimes quirkless people can be useful. But in this world, everyone loves their quirks. This is it. I'm about to hit the pavement. I'm gonna close my eyes and just think, hope I be born with a quirk. Deku hits the ground, splattering blood everywhere. Baku is horrified about what he just saw, and his only friend's gone. East Midoriya, death, August 1st, 2019. Deku began to say, did not say, he left a note to say, "Kachan, I know you'd be a great hero. You don't need me, so I hope you have a great life." Bakugo was deeply saddened by this, and has nightmares about Deku in his dreams. Even after the funeral, Inko's there crying her heart out, like she was saying, what could have done this to make my son go to commit suicide? He's the only thing I had left. That's Inko died from depression and guilt of not helping her child. She said, when I die, I hope I find my Isku. I'm just gonna hug him when I get to heaven. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Deku awoke. Bakugo stood at the surface. He got into UA. He still thinks about what could have been different. Ever since he went to UA, his physical exam meant nothing. He felt someone was missing from his life. That's when Deku said, that's when Bakugo said, "Do I really deserve this quirk?" And we fast forward to where Deku is, because time's different where Deku is. Deku said, "Where am I?" And there's one being that came out of the shadows said, We are your creation. They said, what do you mean? Well, you did not notice, but we are your very soul. When you died, we awoke, and you're somehow in this dark place with us. And they said, us? And the guy Deku just sees in the darkness red eyes, and the thing says yes. And he said their names: Ignited Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, Golden Freddy, Foxy, and me, Creation and Springtrap. Deku's like, what? So you guys are born from me? And the guy said, yes, we are. Sorry guys, I just have to do something. I'm trying to check out, okay? So I can. So, you're saying you're born from me? Yes. You see, you have a unique ability and skill to do for us to use sometimes. Guys, if you want me like this, I will, but if you want like this, I will, but just choose what side. Put a left or just straight up like this way. Okay, anyway. The creation began to say, you see, Deku, we are part of your very soul. We just want to be free. Deku's like, well, if you want to be free, then why am I in this dark place with you guys? And that's when they said, we don't know either. Could be fate, it could be a deal, we're not really sure. But one thing is for certain is that we awakened once you've hated someone. Deku says, hate someone? Yes. Who's the person you hate? I hate heroes. I hate Bakugo. And suddenly Deku's form began to change into an animatronic, but darker, more powerful than he's ever been in his life. Deku's like, what is this power? It's rushing through me. Creation said, well, I guess you are one of us. Deku said, one of you? Yes, we are ignited, and you're ignited as well. I feel your power. It's immeasurable. And it's a bit more lacking in, I don't know, just, how could I describe it to you? Well, the best I could get up to is insanity. He says, insanity? Yes. So right now, your power level is up to insanity. That's the highest I'm going. And that's when Deku says, well, if you guys are in space, does that mean Deku has a thought? He just imagined a door, and it appeared. The creation was surprised by this. He says, what did you do? Deku said, well, I made a door. So, let's go see what's in it. All of the Joy of Creations go in there. All of them look, and they're outside. And Deku says, I guess we're in the real world. Creation says, the real world. Huh. And Creation says, I wish to thank you by working for you. Deku says, what? You see, ever since you woke up, we've been trapped there for a while. It took you 4 years to wake up in that space. Deku says, 4 years? And Creation says, yes, but out here it's 4 days. So you've been gone for a year. Deku's like, well, I wish to go visit my mother. Creation says, that won't be possible. And Deku says, why? Because she died because the person killed her. Deku's like, oh, okay. Oh my. This is going to be quite entertaining. Deku personality completely changes into a grim, evil smile, and Deku says, well, whew. Deku says to the Joy of Creation, like, to hide in the shadows and wait for his signal. Creation agrees. All of them begin to hide in the shadows and wait for his command to show themselves. And as Deku gets up to his grave, Deku looks at it. And Deku says, huh, if I didn't die, I wouldn't have this ability. So, Kachan, hope you're ready, because I'm going to kill every one of your friends. And make sure you watch. Never knowing that I'm really here back in the real world. Deku hears a noise. It's Minka. I don't know, Bakugo's mom, and Bakugo's mom says, Inko, I miss you. I even miss Izuku. I don't know why my son bullied him. I just thought he was just a phase. But I was mistaken. Due to my carelessness, I let Bakugo keep bullying Deku without my knowledge. And when Bakugo told me this, Bakugo said he didn't want to be here anymore. I hugged him and said, it's not your fault. At least you were there with him when he died. Bakugo said, yeah, and I also tried to stop him. He said, this is Inko. When I get to heaven, let's have a cup of coffee when we get there. Deku said, first of my revenge will be you, Mitsuki. Mitsuki was leaving, but as soon as she turned around, Deku called in ignited spring trap, and she was at the gate where the cemetery was. He was blocking the entrance. He's like saying like, hello? Sir? Are you alright? Springtrap looked behind him. He just saw Mitsuki. Mitsuki saw a rotting corpse just in the suit. He just didn't do anything in there. He just stood there and said, it's your time to die. Mitsuki was shocked, but she didn't know there was something behind her. She turned around and she just saw this huge black, like, white bear. And this white bear was Deku. Deku grabbed Mitsuki's throat and crushed it. Mitsuki, gasping for the last breath, said, who are you? Deku transformed, revealing Deku revealed himself as Deku. And Deku said, shh. And Mitsuki is dead. just a corpse. Deku decides to do something and just leaves a note. Just grabs, grabs a note, puts sticky tat on it, and writes, "Justice." I know it's really fucked up. I know. and Deku told Springtrap to hide in the shadows again. Springtrap does so. And Deku puts on a mask and he makes himself a hoodie out of the darkness, some gloves, and some pants. And the UA attack already happened, so everyone has their dorms. Deku is just surprised that they just left the front door wide open for me. But enough about that. I can't invade UA yet. Besides, there's too many cameras. So, I'll deal with them later, but first, I gotta get myself a name. Let's kill some innocent people, my creations. And Creation said, yes. And Deku told Springtrap that Deku said to Springtrap that, you see that abandoned building? Yes. Go kill them. Or you see a little house? You can kill them. I don't care. There's 2 children, one, a mother, and a father. All that Deku hears in the house. Springtrap walks in, all Deku hears is screaming and bones snapping and silence. And Deku, for these since Springtrap murdered over, I don't know, 35 people in one night. And Deku told Springtrap to hide because he sees the sun. And of course, the creations don't get affected by the sun, but they're too exposed, and the heroes could easily defeat them. But the night is their only time for stealth and true scariness and fear. And the police arrive at all the scenes, saying whoever this person is, they killed 35 people in one night. They're really dangerous. And their necks, the choke marks, they look like it's almost robotic. Some type of person with robotic hands as quirk. The officer says, yeah, maybe. All Might was also at the scene, investigating. All Might's looking at this. And all the people there had quirks that are actually pretty good. And some were pretty weak. And All Might said, well... And that's when All Might was thinking, what could possibly happen? Most these people have quirks that give them strength and everything, but they were killed so easily. And when I looked at the crime scene, there was no blood of any type from any quirks activated. And that's one of Deku's, I'm gonna say, abilities. He can cancel anyone's quirk if his creations are in the house or near them, and they can't use it. And Deku's just sitting on the rooftop, just kicking his knees around, saying, if only they knew. Deku's next target. I don't know what his next target would be. Yeah, guys, if you guys like me doing this voice, I really do like it, so yeah. Deku's like, uh, they should have found Mitsuki by now. I wonder what took so long. This was like Mitsuki died in that one night, so she was like the 35th victim, like the first victim. So yeah, and that's when Bakugo got the kid. And Deku says, "Ooh, I wish I could see Kachan's face." Meanwhile, while Baku was at home or in the dorm, Baku received news his mother was murdered. Someone was strangling her and broke her neck. Baku's like, "I'll get revenge for whoever did this." He's at the funeral right now. Kirishima's like saying like, "Hey, where's Baka, bro?" Aizawa says, "Well, his mother got murdered, so he won't be here for class." And Deku said, "Perfect." Because one of Deku's creations was already in the room, but they were hiding in the shadows. Aizawa could even sense him. No one in Class UA could. And that's when Deku decided to just sit there and wait until nightfall. Bakugo got a weird text. As soon as he got walked to class, he got a text from someone he didn't know. It said, "Kachan, did you miss me?" Bakugo's like, "No one's called me Kachan since I've. Who are you? Who are you?" Bakugo's texting. "Oh, do you remember this?" Deku took a picture of Mitsuki, and when Baku saw that picture, he was like, "Where did you get that picture?" And Deku said, "Oh, you don't recognize it? You don't recognize your own mother? How sad." Bakugo was a bit more enraged by this, but he's making sure no one in class saw this. Kirishima, though, he had a feeling that something was wrong. Deku decided to say, like, "Meet me here tonight at 12 a.m. If you meet me here about 3 a.m. If you're not there by that time, I'm gonna dig up your best friend's grave and burn his coffin in his very own home, in your home where your dad is." Baku's like, "Fine, I'll be there." Kirishima said to Momo something was wrong with Bakugo. Bakugo looked more madder than usual. Aizawa, he didn't. He just said he's just being a little shit as always. And Baku got there at that time, and Bakugo saw a shovel right in front of Deku's grave, and Bakugo looked at it. Bakugo looked at Deku's coffin, looked at Deku's grave, and the person that sent the message, because Bakugo was 1 minute late. 1 minute. And that's when he said, "I said 1 minute. I said 3 a.m. Too bad. I've already dug up your best friend's grave." And Bakugo's like, "Oh, hell no, you're not." And yes, Class 1A was trailing Bakugo before then. And that's when Bakugo looked at the grave. Bakugo noticed that The coffin was open, but when he looked in it, Deku wasn't there. Bak was like, "What did you do with my friend's remains? Where are you?" Deku steps out of shadows wearing that mask. And Deku's like smiling underneath. It's like, "Oh, Kachan, you really are pathetic." Baku's Baku's like running at the person that dug up his best friend's grave, which was him. When Baku tried to use his quirk, it didn't work. Baku's like, "What the hell?" Deku grabbed Bakugo's face and pinned him to the floor, to the ground where the graves were. As soon as Class 1A catch up to him, Deku is about to say his name. Bakugo Katsuki. My real name is... And that's when Class 1A, like Hiroshima rushing in, punches the dude in the face, cracking his mask a bit. Piece of his mask falls off, but it was just like half of it falls off. Like the top of his mask was like fine, so it doesn't reveal his like true face, just half it falls off. And since Deku was flying, he landed into a bunch of graves. And Uraraka, rushing in, used her gravity quirk on him, and Deku said, "Oh, your quirk is gravity. I'll fix that." Deku comes back down. Uraraka said, "What the?" She tries again, but something wasn't right. It was like he wasn't there. She said she thought there's no person here, but he's right in front of me. Deku begins walking up to Uraraka, punching her in the stomach. And Deku says, "You're a bit of a slow learner, ain't you?" Kirishima using his hardening quirk, rushing in, punching Deku in the face again, breaking Momo's mask. Deku's like, "Oh, I see." Kirishima didn't notice, but Kirishima knocked off Deku's jaw. And Kirishima was like, "What the fuck?" Kirishima was like, "I killed someone." But when Kirishima looked at the jaw, it was completely a metal jaw. Kirishima was like, "What?" When Deku turned to face him, they just saw something they didn't expect. A robotic mini jaw right there. And Deku actually punched, like sprinting to Kirishima, punched Kirishima in the abs, almost cracking his hardening state. And Kirishima was like, "Mm." And class, if you're wondering, because Kirishima and Uraraka showed some bravery, so if they showed some bravery, their quirks are working a bit. They will work a bit if they show if they're not scared. That's the thing that Deku can't stop. His quirk won't work if they be a little bit brave. And Deku's like, "Oh, you see, Kirishima, you should have knocked off my jaw." Deku knees Kirishima in the face, flying him all the way to class. And yes, Bakugo was already knocked out. Deku knocked him out. And one of the classmates texted Aizawa and Medetta trying to make sure the guy was stuck. And Deku was like, "Oh, what are these, grapes?" Deku ripped the fabric off his leg. And he's like walking over to Medetta. He grabs Medetta's throat. But not after He grabs his throat and teleports away to where his jaw is. Deku picks up his jaw and puts it back into place. A bunch of mist covers his jaw and makes him into human. And Deku says, "You should not have followed him. Say goodbye to your classmate." Minetta's neck was about to snap, but Aizawa arrived, grabbing Deku's arm away. But as soon as Minetta began running, Deku said, "Spring trap!" A giant figure appeared out of Deku's shadow, grabbing Minetta, and smashed his face into bits, like Play-Doh. As Deku said, "Man, you really thought your friend would escape?" Aizawa says, "Stop. Your quirk's been erased. You can't do anything." Deku's like, "Oh, you think my quirk's erased?" Deku grabs onto Aizawa's scarf, pulling him in closer and closer. Aizawa's trying to pull away, but Aizawa says, "What the hell? His quirk's supposed to be erased. What is his quirk?" And Deku said, "Oh, if only you knew. It's sad." Deku yanked Aizawa, punching him in the face, knocking him to a gravestone, like a tombstone. And Deku said to Springtrap, "Withdraw. I got this." Springtrap says, "Got it, boss." Springtrap turns around, and he just fades to the darkness where Deku's shadow is. All cuss when he's like, "What are you?" And Deku says, "I'm your nightmares and your fear." All of them are like, "What does he mean?" Momo thought if his quirk is like the daylight, sunlight. Momo had an idea. Why was he attacking now? Momo wanted to figure something out, so she tried to use flashbang and said, "Everyone, close your eyes." She threw flashbang, and Deck was like, "Psh." And Momo was like, "Huh? I thought that would work." And they just see Deku completely unfazed, and Deku says, I'm not that weak, but hey, you guys did a pretty good job." But that would have worked earlier if you'd thrown that after my creation went back in my shadow. And one was like, "So, wait, he's not affected, but only his creations are? Damn it, I misread the situation." As she said that in her head, Deku teleported behind her. Deku grabbed her mouth, and Deku dragged her to the darkness. Everyone turns around, and they're seeing Momo. Momo is also being taken by Deku into the darkness. As she's being dragged in, she says, "Mm." All they just see is a tracking device, but the tracking device doesn't work. Momo says, "Ha!" As soon as Momo gets into the complete darkness, Deku lets go of her. And Momo says, "Really think you can keep me here? The heroes will come for me," Deku says. "Oh, they can't track you here." Momo says, "What? This is my own domain. So, you're gonna be sitting here for a few days. Let's see how you feel being in here for 4 years." Momo says, "What? Don't worry, you won't die. You don't even need to drink or sleep in here, so enjoy life." Momo says, "Wait, no. Where am I?" Deku gets out of the darkness, and because there's a dead tree, Deku gets out of the dead tree and just says to them, "Man, you're the girl that was with you guys is pretty weak." And Omen like saying, "She's not weak. What did you do to her?" Deku's like, "If you guys didn't follow me, this never would have happened." Oh, however, it is time for me to go. Aizawa regains consciousness as Aizawa's like throws his scarf at him. Deku disappears through darkness, and Aizawa's scarf is cut. And the sun rises, and all of them are like, "We just lost two of our classmates." Oh, Mina says, "Well, at least we don't know if she's dead or alive. So she could be alive." Oh, I'm like saying like, "Yeah, let's hope so." And Aizawa says, "Yeah, and you two better explain, why did you follow Bakugo?" And Kirishima says, "Well, we all noticed that Bakugo looked more angrier than usual and a bit more upset." Aizawa says, "I thought he was being more a dick, but you're right to follow him. If you didn't follow him, we could have lost Bakugo. Anyway, let's tell this to like all my and the teachers." Class 1A says, "You're right." All the class 1A has to hold a funeral for Mineta. Bakugo woke up and he says, "Oh, guys, why'd you follow me? I could have handled him on my own." And Kirishima says, "Bro, you couldn't handle him on your own." Kirishima shows him, and Bakugo's like, "The pervert deserved it, but he didn't deserve this kind of death." All of them agreed. And this will be ending off with Deku's Drive Creation Part 1. So hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm just kidding. Deku's Drive Creation. Deku is at a hot dog stand. Deku ordered 2 hot dogs, and he paid for it with the guy's own money, because one of his creations stole money off him without him noticing. Deku begins eating the hot dog and saying like, "Oh, this is so good. I haven't had this in such a long time." Deku's thinking in his head. Deku teleports to the roof, and Deku tells one of his creations to check up on Momo, because it's been 2 days. 2 days equals 2 years. Momo's like sitting there quietly. She thinks she's like losing her sanity. So Deku just decides to teleport her out where Deku is, but in an alleyway. And Deku says to Momo that you're not in the void anymore, so you might as well snap out of it. Deku tried to talk to Momo, but she was not responsive. Deku says, "Ooh, being too mate. If I left you for another 4 years, I bet you've just been nothing but a puppet, wouldn't you?" Deku notices that there were some like scars there. Deku says, "You've been cutting yourself in there, haven't you?" "Come on, let me just wrap those up for you." Deku grabs a bandage from the darkness, wraps Momo up. Deku tells the creation to watch her while he goes out to get some new clothes for her, because she doesn't know anything, because the void can affect her very mind. So she doesn't know who she is right now. Her eyes are motionless. And Deku's like, I wonder what would happen if Class 1A ever found out that you've been gone for you've just been gone for 2 days, but just 2 years in that void really puts a toll on a person. Besides, if they could stop to go back to the void to get creation. Deggy's talking to creation in his head. He's like, got it, I'll take her there. Mo's like, saying, no, 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 don't take me there. Don't take me for sake, like, don't take me there. Of course, when the hero's like saying, like, what are you doing? Robot? Where are you taking her? Creation says, I got a problem. There's a hero here. And Deku's like, I'll take care of him. Deku teleports behind the hero. The hero's about to use his quirk. Deku literally breaks the hero's spine, not killing him, but he sees the robot, but Deku slowly just puts his hand over the hero's eye and just says, shh. He puts it blindfold because Deku doesn't want to, you know, get blood all over himself because he can just easily like clean that up, but still, he doesn't like the way how blood just gets on his heart, no nerves, just makes him go a bit crazy for it. Just starts a killing spree sometimes, but that's never happened. But he thinks about it. How much fun it would be. As Momo's like saying like, I want to go back and forth. Deku says, okay. Can you just gag her, please? Creation says, got it. Momo's gagged and she's like brought into the darkness. As one of the heroes saw a person wearing black clothing and a white mask, and they said, "Hey, where's the girl? What did you do to her?" And Deku, like, slowly brings her up, and all of them saw, like, it's her. Like, say, "Get back here!" And Deku says, "Huh, heroes are so dumb. I closed the portal right on time before they even got near it." And Deku said, "Huh, this void's kind of, I don't know, guys. I just say a bit empty, so... Bonnie, here, guys, let me just make a whole house in this void. Like this." All of them were, like, saying, like, what did you do? Deku says, since this is the void, and my void only, I can make whatever I want. And also, creation, there's an upstairs for you, and I also made a little portal for humans. Momo Aizuroshi is getting back some of her memories and her consciousness. She's like saying, like, where am I? And she wakes up on the couch, and she just sees this Deku just sitting there watching her. She's like terrified by this, but she remembers him. She remembers her being kidnapped, and she grabs Deku. And also when you're in the void, you don't age. Oh yeah. Deku's like, oh, seems you're awake. And Momo's like, yeah, where am I? Deku says, oh, you're nowhere. You're just in my void. Momo says, your void? What does that even mean? Deku says, it means you don't age, you don't die, don't need to eat or sleep. But if you wish to sleep, you can sleep here if you want. You can have dreams for about like a week, and you can just wake up whenever you want. The best feeling ever. If you guys like say I'm making Deku nice, I am not. He's just trying to get Momo on her side because they're. You guys probably know if you watch the anime. Deku said, "Well, you can't even escape here, Momo. Like Momo is Rozu. So if you try to escape here, you won't do anything. However, I already have my top guard on the door, so only I can exit. But you probably can't exit since you have a creation quirk. But even if you make a door, it won't do anything. Only I can set you free from here, so yeah." "Well, if you excuse me, I'm just gonna go watch more of your friends." Momo's like, "No, you're not." As Deku's about to leave the door, Deku comes with Momo comes with her, dodging Spring Trap. And Momo's like with Deku, but no one can see Momo. And Deku has a chain around her arm, like handcuffs, but it's a chain. She's like saying, "Let me go." Deku's like, "Oh no, you left the house without my permission. And since you left the house, now, without me saying you have permission to, no one will be able to see you. And, by the way, great, grab a tea." Mo's like saying, "What the? How do you have this quirk?" Deku says, "It's not a quirk, it's my ability." And, you know what? Deku uncuffs himself and chains Momo to like, to the place where Momo was. And Deku's like, "Have fun." Momo's like, "Get me down from here. Whoever your name is." Deku stopped and just said, "Oh, I never told you my name. My name is Create. My name is Create. My name is Creation. You got that?" I was like, "Fine." But Deku decided not to like let her stay there for too long, and he ordered Ignited Bonnie to bring her back in at least 4 minutes. Ignited Bonnie does so. She's like, "No, no," no one hears her. As a few days and months go by, since Deku's like out in the outside world and Momo's like sitting on the couch in the void, Deku says, "Huh, she's probably getting lonely in there. Maybe I should take one of her classmates." Deku goes to the shadows in the building. In the daylight, no one sees Deku. He's like exactly in the wall where light is, but where the light is, there's a bit of darkness in there. So Deku's like watching them, doing their homework, studying. Uh, Deku says, "Oh, I have a good idea for this." And Deku said to Foxy, Foxy like comes up to him and just twitches a bit, and Deku says, "I think it's time for you to introduce yourself. Let me just do this." When Aizawa leaves the classroom, he says, "I'll be back to get pencils." The whole room turns to black. The windows are black, and when the classmates get at their desk and try to open the door, it opened, but no one was in the building. All the rooms were black. And Deku says, Welcome to my domain. Bakugo's like, where are we? Deku's like, oh, you don't know? You see, Bakugo, this is my ability. Since you guys are in my domain, I can do whatever I want to you. But that wouldn't be fun. Of course, Ida Tenya's like, what do you mean fun, villain? Deku's like, oh, I'm just doing this out of revenge and just, I don't know, laughter. And Ida's like, what do you mean revenge? Deku points to Bakugo. Maybe he could explain it to you. Much more clearer than you'd think of your classmate keeping a secret. Orphan like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Tell us. Deku's like, why would I tell you? After all, he is a murderer. Orphan like shocked by this by Baku, and Orphan asked Baku if he murdered someone. Baku said, no, I didn't. And Deku's like gets mad by this. He's like, you're so annoying. And Deku said, Foxy, it's your time to shine. And the whole room completely goes black. And Ida didn't know that Foxy was behind him. And Foxy put his hook straight through Ida's like spine. But it didn't kill Ida. Ida could not be here anymore because his legs. So Deku's like, laughing. I was like, oh, that is so cute. Anyway. Oh, Foxy. They're all yours. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk to Momo, Aizurozu, and that's when the classmate is like, what, she's alive? Deku says, of course she is, but you guys should know that she's like almost losing her sanity. However, if one of you wants to make sure that she's comfortable and make sure she isn't alone, I will. And Olden like saying like, why would we be your prisoner? And Deku explains Deku says, did you know that she's been in the void for 2 years? Olden like saying like, what? That can't be possible. Deku says, well, you say that, but in my domain, I can make time flow different. So, 4 days ago that I kidnapped her? Yeah. Under your nose, she was completely walking around. She even walked by Mina a couple of times. And he was like, what? How come I didn't notice her? Because I kept making her change her clothes and dressing differently. And changing her hairstyle. He was like, oh, no wonder I had a feeling I recognized those people. You kept changing her. But she was called for help. Deku says, being in the void for 2 years alone takes a toll on the person's mind. Of course, Juno said, I'll go. Take me and leave my classmates alone. Deku said, oh my. You're quite the brave one. Very well. I'll leave them alone. For now. And Baku rushing in. Don't do it, Juno. He's gonna trick you. Deku said, Foxy, take care of him. Foxy, like, puts a hole in Bakugo's arm, putting Foxy's hook straight through Bakugo's arm. Foxy pulls out his hook and goes for Bakugo's leg, putting a hole in it. Then Foxy kicks Bakugo to the students. And Kirishi was like, Bakugo, bro, you okay? Deku's get off to two of them like, yeah, I'm fine, Kirishima. Just that that thing's crazy strong. As Foxy's like rushing at them to kill one of the classmates, Mina brought her bright flashlight and pointed it in Foxy's eyes, and Foxy like shrieked at it, like. Mina's like, he doesn't like the light. And Deku said, wow, looks like you figured out one of my creation's weaknesses. Derry said, one of them? Yes, I have multiple. Silly. Deku, like, grabs, Juno's shoulder, and she just fades to the darkness. Deku, like, grabs her and pushes her to the darkness. She just pops up in the room in which she sees Momo crying on the sofa. Juno's, like, rushing over to her, she's, like, hugging her, and Momo's, like, saying, like, you're just another hallucination, you're just another hallucination, you're just another hallucination. Juno's, like, slaps Momo, it's like, calm down. Juno's like, it's really you. Juno's like, yeah, it's really me. Why are you crying? It's been almost 4 days, like 42 days ago that you were kidnapped. No, I'm changing the day that she was getting kidnapped. It was actually 42 days ago. I'm gonna say Deku, like, changed, like, those 42 days into 2 years. So, yeah, it would make sense. She's, like, crying right there. She was like, where are we? Do you know how to get out of here? Momo says, there is no way out, Juno. I tried everything. I tried making weapons. I can't even use my quirk in here. She was like, what? Let me try my quirk. Deku's like, it's not working. Why isn't it working? Deku says like, oh, that's because it doesn't work here. Momo and Juno thought it was like this creation guy, but it wasn't. It was just Springtrap talking like Deku, but Deku's talking through him. And the class one is like, huh. We figured out your nightmare's weaknesses, your creation's weaknesses. So what? We still beat you. Deku says, well, she complied. Well, she did comply, so it was fun with you guys. And Bakugo, Bakugo, it was fun seeing you again. I hope you have a nice day. I'll have fun later. This is the end of part 1. Please, if you guys like this video, smash a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you love this content. I'll see you all later. And this gets age restricted, I am sorry. However, if this gets age restricted, I will keep it up until 2 days. If YouTube says this is not appropriate, I will make it age restricted. Okay, YouTube? If you say it needs to be age restricted, I will. I'm sorry.